Are you ready to transform your life with the power of living water? Hi, I'm Devon Taylor, and I want to share an incredible discovery that's changed my life and my family's life: living water. Imagine waking up every morning feeling refreshed, energized, and ready to conquer the day. With living water, it's not just a dream, it's our new reality. We've been sleeping better, eating healthier, and have more energy than ever before. But that's not all. Our secret to this newfound vitality is available to you too. Visit our website at thelivingwatercouple.com and discover how living water can revolutionize your health and wellness. And there's more. Tune into our podcast, available on all streaming platforms and YouTube, where we dive deep into the science and benefits of living water. Hear from experts, satisfied customers, and learn how you can make this life-changing decision for yourself. But don't wait too long. Prices for our water machines and supply are going up in July 2024. Now is the perfect time to invest in your health and well-being. So, head over. Remember, living better starts with living water. Living water, drink, thrive, and live your best life. Visit thelivingwatercouple.com today.
Welcome to a brand new experience with innovative voices from all over the world. I would like to invite you all to something that is magical, something that is powerful, and something that is from my heart. This is the Devon Taylor Podcast. Hello all, welcome to another episode of the Devon Taylor Podcast, where we have guests from all around the world tell their unique stories that are powerful, and it allows them to have their voice be heard. This is also for you guys to leave feeling super inspired. I am super grateful today because I have two guests that are joining me. My first guest is my co-host, my partner in crime and everything that we do, the producer. He's also helped me get a lot of these interviews on the show. I'd like to introduce Giancarlo. Hi, Giancarlo. Thank you for being here.
OMG. Here we are. What an honor. Thank you so much, Devon, for having me and just for all the magic we're creating together. And I can't wait for you to introduce this lady right here.
Yes, I'm really grateful for our next guest agreeing to be here. She is a business and human design coach who turns dreams into cash. She has a decade of marketing and sales, and she's a pro at transforming entrepreneurs' lives. After creating her own multiple six-figure success and marketing agency and health coaching business, Hannah Becker is here to provide all kinds of insight to her coaching. So welcome, Hannah Becker.
Thank you so much, Devon and Giancarlo. I'm so excited. This is going to be so much fun. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. I'm really excited for you being here. I know Giancarlo is closely connected to you, and that's how we were able to get you on the podcast. But just to start, kind of like, just to give a background about who you are, how'd you get into the coaching business? Can you give us kind of like a rundown so that anyone that's watching the podcast for the first time or hearing your name for the first time can get an idea of who you are?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that question. I started my career in marketing out of college. I was hired as a marketing and salesperson for a small tech company. And I spent 10 years in the industry of marketing and technology, and I liked it. I wouldn't say I loved it. It was as our most corporate jobs, it was very cutthroat. It was a lot about climbing the ladder, but I learned so much in that time period about business, about marketing. So spending that time after college and having studied marketing, being in that industry really prepared me for being able to teach other people how to do exactly what I was doing. But that's not how I started in coaching. How I started in coaching was actually, I was getting really tired of corporate life. I got to a point where I was just exhausted every single day. I didn't want to get up and go to work. I didn't want to get on any meetings. It was draining me for many reasons, not not least of all the fact that I had some people pleasing to heal. So that was, I found myself in this place of feeling torn between quitting my job and going fully into the unknown and just staying where I felt comfortable. And so what I ended up doing was I started to work with Beachbody. Beachbody was my first official coaching gig. I joined Beachbody. Beachbody at the time, sold Shakeology and all the transformation workouts. And I actually transformed my own physical body as a Beachbody member, and I lost like 30 pounds, had a huge health transformation, and I wanted to help other people do the same. So I ended up starting that as a corporate employee, still employed at my marketing gig as a marketing manager. And then I also started doing little marketing side jobs for people in my community. So if my mom's friend needed a website, I could help them with that. If there was, graphic design that needed to be done, I could handle that. And I just got a ton of skills. I'm really grateful for my time in corporate, even though it's not where I ended up or where I see myself going in the future. But I got to the point where the job was just stressing me out more than it was actually bringing me benefit or bringing me, like, the money was not worth the stress that I had. So I got to this point where I just I didn't care as much. I stopped really showing up as my best self in that role. And there was a company-wide layoff. They laid off like 40% of the company because they had a huge economic hit. They got financially in some hot water. So I was one of the people who got cut. And getting cut, it was terrifying, right? It was like kind of like the universe's signal to me, like, you need to leave the nest. Like, you need to get out of this corporate job and you need to go all in on coaching and all in on your marketing agency. So I ended up with no job, but I had some clients immediately appear in my life for marketing. So I started doing a little bit more expensive web design projects, graphic design projects for friends of friends and friends of family. And that was the birth of my marketing agency called High Level. So I started doing marketing as a career, but not as a coach, but rather as a done for you agency owner. So we had a lot of clients. We did a lot of agency style work. It was a lot. I learned a lot there as well. And we actually grew that business to 6 figures in less than a year. So I had a partner in that firm. We did really well. And what's funny is we didn't use any social media to grow that business. It was all word of mouth. It grew so fast because our work quality was excellent. And at the same time, I ended up leaving Beachbody and became a full-time fitness coach as well. So I was doing these 2 jobs, coaching and marketing, and, keeping up this really high pace of just productivity. I have a lot of energy as a manifesting generator, which we'll talk about in the human design portion of this conversation. But I still got burned out doing all of the things. So I grew my fitness business to 6 figures. I grew my marketing agency to 6 figures, but I ended up not loving the done for you style marketing work. So I left the agency. I ended up, leaving it in the hands of my very capable partner who is, still doing it to this day. She's doing a phenomenal job. But now I had a decision to make, to keep coaching as a fitness coach or to really follow my passion and help other coaches start their own businesses. And to help these other coaches to also work on their mindset and energy, because during this whole process, the career process, I also did a ton of healing work for myself. And I had, amazing therapists and coaches and healers I worked with to work on my people pleasing, my childhood trauma. And all of this created in me just a new mindset and a new lease on life. I felt like for the first time ever, I was fully embodied in my passion. And so I left the fitness business and I started I'm a risk taker, right? I like to make big moves. So I made a big move. I retired the fitness business, went all in on helping entrepreneurs. And that's what I'm still doing today. I've been doing since 2020. So I'm really happy to be where I'm at today. We've seen incredible success as a business. And I say we because now I actually have a team of people supporting me. And it's pretty phenomenal how when you follow your soul direction, you follow those intuitive hits, and you just allow the universe to co-create and co-conspire with you, magic is just moments away. And that's what brings us here today.
I love that.
So good. So good. That's the show. Bye, everybody. um, that's so powerful. And I love how you start connecting all the dots in those ways and really listen to your heart, really listen to your intuition, and how the universe was giving you signs and a wake up call that it was your time to transition and to move to the next season of your life. And I feel that right now, the universe is calling many people, many of us, and many of you watching this to your next season of your life. And in fact, many experts are saying that more than 300 million jobs are going to go bye bye because of artificial intelligence. So, what worked for you? And what can you tell the audience listening to this if they are finding themselves in that place?
Yeah, well, if you are at risk of losing your job or you're making the conscious decision of leaving your job, the result is the same. It's scary. There's no other way around it. It's a scary feeling. It literally felt like, I was a baby bird being shoved out of this very comfortable nest because corporate life was just comfortable. It was, you had a secured paycheck and you had a secured person you report to. You knew exactly what you were going to do day to day. It felt so comfortable. And so a lot of us get kind of addicted to comfort. Actually, not just kind of, but we very much get addicted to comfort because as human beings, our top priority of our subconscious system is to keep us safe. So the subconscious system keeping us safe says, don't quit that job, or you've got to go find another job if you leave, if you get laid off, or if you get fired, you've got to go. That's just what we do as a culture. We go find another job. When in fact, becoming an entrepreneur, though it feels riskier, to me is the safest bet I've ever made because the one person I have to rely on to make it happen is myself. And I feel and have always felt like if I can rely on anyone, I can rely on me. So the choice to embark into entrepreneurship doesn't have to happen all at once. Like for me, it happened. I had a transition period where I was still working corporate and then I was also working as a coach. And that was really fun because I got to get my feet wet without taking all the risk. And I'm not saying everybody has to do it that way, but that felt like a nice middle ground for a bit until it got to the point where it was so clear I needed to transition. I needed to leave, but I didn't get the choice, right? I was shoved out of the nest. So if you're in that position, my biggest piece of advice is you've got to trust yourself. You have this beautiful innate guidance system within you. Some of us become very disconnected from that when we work in corporate America, and when we are very connected to the societal influences around us, like social media, we become very disconnected from that internal guidance system, but we all have it and it's not gone. It's never left you. It's still there. So the best piece of advice I can give you is to listen to your soul, listen to your heart. A lot of my business is all about soul-led success. And how you do that is different for everyone. But for me, as a Manny-Gen, as a manifesting generator, I know without a doubt when something is a hell yes in my body. And I know when I feel like, no, this is not for me. I have that clear instinctive intuition. And it wasn't always clear. So it's something you have to work towards, but you can work towards it slowly. And there's tons of tools you can use to strengthen your intuition, like activation, meditation, visualization, working with a human design expert to teach you how to listen to your innate human design and your guidance system, because we all have that. So yeah, if you're in that place, I feel for you, and I'm so excited for you because there's so much opportunity and the world is literally your oyster on the other side of that transition.
I love that. Thank you for explaining that. The one question that keeps coming to my mind is like, what was that moment for you? Because obviously it was probably a little scary, and you said you got pushed off. What was that moment for you that was like, I got this? Like, there's no more looking back. I'm okay moving forward. Corporate life, goodbye. Here comes my new entrepreneur, lifestyle. What was that moment for you?
It was instantaneous. And that sounds weird to some people, but I was driving from New Mexico, where I live. I live in Santa Fe, New Mexico, driving to Wyoming to see the birth of my nephew. My very first nephew was born. And I was making that drive. And on that drive is actually when I got the call from the HR department saying, you're no longer employed at this company. And when I got the call, I was in the most beautiful valley. There were mountains on both sides. I had my dog in the back seat. I was in this little rinky-dink car that I had at the time, little beater car. And I remember the moment that I got that call and I hung up the phone and I was looking at these mountains and I was thinking to myself, I want the choice to do this every day. I want the choice to be here with my dog doing this every day. I don't know what that's going to look like or what that's going to mean, but I guess we'll see where it takes us. So as I was by myself and making this drive and thinking to myself, like, oh, should I look for other jobs? Should I start, applying, calling around? But I just had this really insane peace settle over my body that was just like, no, you're going to be okay. Everything is going to work out and you don't have to force it. And then clients started appearing in my life. I made it to Wyoming and I was a little bit pissed off. I was a little bit angry because I was like, I still don't know what I'm here to do. I felt a little bit like I didn't know what my soul's purpose was at the time very clearly. So I was going through this wave of emotions and a lot of different things came up for me. But through it all, deep in my being, I felt this sense of peace of it's all going to work out. It's all going to be okay. And you're not going back to corporate. It wasn't even a conscious thing. It was like my soul speaking to me. And I wasn't listening to it until the moment when I got that call and I was by myself in the mountains and I hung up that phone and I was like, this is the life I actually want. It's not me sitting in front of a screen all day talking to people about things I don't care about. I want to be able to adventure and travel and explore the world and meet with people that I care about and spend my time doing things that light up my soul. And that was the moment, the exact moment.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
So, when it comes to your beliefs, what is what is the beliefs that you have towards your clients? Like, how do you hold them? For example, if they're going through a lot of pain, and at the same time, how do you hold them in that vision of the badass that is inside of them? What's the
Yeah,
process for you about that?
that's a great question. So my beliefs around coaching and around holding clients in general is that I see and speak to everyone at the level at which I believe they can become. I don't speak to people on the level where they're at. A lot of people say you should meet people where they're at. I actually believe you should meet people at the peak of their potential. And so, for example, my clients in the Limitless Lounge, every single one of them, I look at them and I see their 7-8 figure self, the one who is succeeding massively, the one who's changing the world. And so that makes it so much easier for me as the coach to hold them lovingly, because often when we're feeling pain, it's coming from conditioned thought. It's coming from the inner child. It's coming from a part of us that is what I call our not self. Our not self is the part of us that's separate from our soul. So separate in that it comes from this like 3D lived experience, right? So my belief is that we accumulate layers as we age and as we grow. And these layers, through the process of healing and through the process of just coming back to ourselves, these layers peel back one by one by one. And so when a client is going through something really difficult, that's an opportunity for a layer to come off so they can be even more themselves. So that's how I hold clients going through difficult times with so much love, because I've been through some really hard times myself. And also am very empathetic. I can feel what they're feeling. So I can hold it with them, but I don't hold them in it. And I don't recommend that they stay in it, but rather allow it to move through them. I'm a really big proponent of allowing our emotions, our traumas, our triggers to move through us instead of staying stuck or stagnant or resisting it. Because when we resist our triggers, we resist the trauma, we resist the emotions, it creates a sense of unwellness in the body. And that actually is the source of disease. It's dis-ease. Unease, dis-ease creates disease in the body, physical disease in the body. So my process for taking clients through difficult times is actually allowing them to go towards the emotion, go towards the trigger, go towards the trauma, because that then allows them to face it. And then when they can face it and hold space for it and allow it to be, it no longer needs to exist. And it dissipates. I know you know exactly what I mean as a healer, Giancarlo. So yeah, the way I look at my clients is as their soul's potential, their soul's power at the peak of their empowered self, right? I always refer to it as the limitless self. The limitless self is the part of us that really did come here to Earth for a reason, to live out a dream, a purpose, a mission, and tapping my clients into that part of themselves and then holding them at that same level as they move through their difficulties and experiences and trials. That's essentially, like, if I could distill it down into a very simplistic view, that's how I look at it.
I love that. And just to bring up, since you were talking about the Limitless Lounge, could you kind of describe to us what the Limitless Lounge is, why you created it, what was like what was the idea behind creating that group and getting those, I guess all of those collective ideas or people together?
Asking me to describe the Limitless Lounge and how that came to be? Okay, perfect. So the Limitless Lounge is what I call my legacy space. What I desire to continue to grow in my business for the foreseeable future is the Limitless Lounge, because I am of the belief that there are few and far between spaces where people are really supported in the coaching industry. There's spaces where there's a lot of education and information, but are lacking in support, lacking in implementation, lacking in accountability, and lacking in that thing that I said about like holding your clients in their limitless potential. Like, that's lacking. And I spent, I don't want to talk bad about anybody that I've ever coached with, because I've learned lessons from each of them, but I've made some very expensive decisions, very expensive investments, and gotten shockingly little support from a lot of spaces I've invested in. So the Limitless Lounge came from this idea that if we come together collectively with other awakened souls and we all hold each other in our limitless potential, there is literally no limit to what we can achieve together. So that's really the mission behind the Limitless Lounge, is to be a safe, supportive space where you are held in your limitless potential, by not only the coach, but by the group of people you're surrounded with. And that came so naturally as I evolved as a coach, and I saw a lot of people, not getting results. And I think the main people don't get results in the industry is because they're being talked at instead of spoken to, instead of considered, instead of like held, instead of understood. They're being talked at, like blah, blah, blah. There's so many freaking people talking online, but so few people feeling heard and seen and understood. So I thought maybe we could change that. Maybe we could reverse that and turn it on its head. And that was the idea that birthed the Limitless Lounge. And now it's taking on a life of its own. And it feels like the most precious group of humans who are all so, I'm going to cry talking about it. It's so, so special because the people in there are just so like, there's giftedness, but there's also space holding and people truly loving and seeing and supporting each other. And the clients are hiring each other and working together and collaborating. It feels like, I read a book about a Native American tribe. I can't remember what it was called at the moment, but it just talked about the beauty of the true tribe, how everybody contributes something. And there is like, even though there's a leader, the leader's job is not to be on a pedestal. There's not a hierarchy. The leader is just as important as all of the other members of the tribe. And so that's the other part of the Limitless Lounge that feels really true is it was designed with a horizontal structure instead of a vertical structure. So vertical relationships are the source of so much heartache because it creates inferiority, it creates superiority, it creates people feeling and seeing each other as competition. But in this space, it's not about competition. It's not about who's doing better or about how much is she making, how much is he making. It's about let's all hold each other and contribute our unique genius to each other so that we can expand. And as a result of that, everyone is expanding at lightning speed.
I love that. See, that's something so funny you're saying this is because it's something that I naturally wanted to start it like a long time ago, but just never got around to how do you bring people together, have them support each other, but like create such an idea where no one is like trying to compete with each other. But that's so beautiful. I love that. So
I love
kudos
it.
to you. That's yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, it came from a lot of trial and error. I spent so much time trying to run different group programs and different masterminds, and it just never clicked. But then I had a moment at the beginning of this year or end of last year. I had gone through some personal experiences where I was just really kind of feeling like raw and cracked open. And I was like, I wish I had a space where I could just go and be with people who get me and who could actually hold me through this. Because at the time I was in a mastermind and I like brought that personal heartache into the mastermind to get support. And instead of support, people were trying to sell me their services, like to get something out of my pain. And that did not feel good. And so when I was going through that, I was like, gosh, if I had a space where I could come and share myself, my everything about me without fear of being like sold to in a transactional way or my pain becoming somebody else's profit, that would feel so much better than what I was experiencing at the time. So the Limitless Lounge came like I said, it was an evolution because I tried all these different things. None of it really worked until I landed on the idea at the beginning of this year, and then it just took off, and it's still like it's growing every day. Like we have new people joining like left and right, and I just foresee, my vision for the space as it grows is for it to only get better instead of it staying the same. It's an evolutionary space where we're adding more support and better support and more team members and the right types of education. And that, will continue to happen because if you don't change and evolve, then the way that I phrase it is, if you're not growing, then you're dying. So this space is going to continue to grow and evolve because I refuse to let it die. And it's literally like my heart's work. It's my heart's mission. And it's also super aligned with my own human design. Like the way that I'm holding space in there is basically like from my own success blueprint. And so it just, yeah, it's so amazing. I love it. I'm obsessed. I could talk about it all day.
The Hannah Becker experience.
Yes.
So let's talk about the human design, shall we?
Yes. Let's do it.
So you are a human design coach as well.
Yes, I am.
You are passionate about the human design. You are a many gen. Devon is a generator. I am a reflector. What can you tell us about the human design, and what do you believe that is a very important system to help us embody our mission and our potential and our power on this earth?
Yeah, human design is, for those of you who aren't aware and you haven't studied it, it was a system that combined multiple already existing systems into one unified space. So if you've ever heard of the I Ching, the Kabbalah, astrology, there's all these different layers to human design. And it started with this man who had a download after a spiritual journey that, he could combine all these systems into one and essentially create a blueprint of energy for people. And it takes the chakra system and breaks it into more than just the original chakras. There's several additional energy centers, because as humans have evolved, we've also evolved in our energetic centers. So he took this idea, and my favorite thing about it is that even the founder, Ra Uru Hu, what he says is, don't take my word for it because you believe me. Study the work and see if it resonates with you, and let the work be the evidence of itself. And that's the coolest part, I think, about human design, is because it's not a dogmatic system that was meant to enforce a religion or was meant to make you fit into a small box. It's a system that is designed to empower you to better understand how you tick, how you work as a human and as an energetic being, and how to implement those energetic systems so that you can not only be successful, but happy and balanced and in your highest expression. So I teach human design for business owners because human design helps you to understand how better to optimize your being as a leader in business, and how you can actually take the different aspects and strengths and geniuses of your chart and the shadows and the things that you need to work on, and build a system in business around those things so your business feels really true to who you are. And that's essentially why the Limitless Lounge is so successful, I believe, is because it's not contrary to my design. It was designed to be a natural, like, it was built around my human design and how I contribute to my community. So that's the gist of it. I could go on, but
I was gonna say, how do you find it easier knowing, like, when people enter the Limitless Lounge, are they just like, giving you a human design, and then that just makes it easier for you to navigate how to help them?
Hey guys, it's Icarus here.
And Amelia.
And I'm here to tell you if you'd like to join our brand new adventure. Go to DevonTaylorAuthor.com to learn more.
And check out the cool items like the new bucket hat.
Yeah, and so much more. See you guys there.
yeah, and human design. So yes, they give me their human design chart or their birth information. I'm able to pull up their chart and see, what is defined or undefined, what are their channels, what are their gates. And that gives me the ability to help them to understand why things maybe didn't work so well in the past, and how we can actually use their design to tweak their business model to feel more and more and more in alignment. And human design is an evolutionary process as well, because there are transits. So as time goes on, there will be different parts of your chart that are ignited during different times of the month, different times of the year. And so it doesn't stay the same. It changes and morphs. But we have this foundational chart. The foundational chart is essentially, it's our birth chart, like same with your astrology. It's how you're born, the day and time you're born. And then when we implement these changes in somebody's business based on their design, the goal is to get their business closer and closer to being in full alignment with who they are. So I'll give you an example. I am a Manny Gen, which means I have a defined sacral. And a defined sacral is essentially a very fiery, creative, life force, powerful energy. And that is probably one of my most magnetic features of my design, is that Manny Gen energy. But as a Manny Gen, even though I have a defined sacral, I am have this gate called the gate of aloneness, which means that I can't always be on and around people. I need time to be in my own energy and to just integrate my own teachings and healing. So every month I take 1 week off from doing like calls in the lounge or calls with clients, and I take days off in my business as well, so that I can really integrate that gate of aloneness. Because even though I have this Manny Gen, like very creative, very passionate energy, I also need integration time to better serve the collective, to better serve my people. So my business model is built so that it supports my energy instead of drains it. I used to be on all the time, taking calls every day, all day long, and I just got so exhausted, and I was like, what the heck? I'm a manifesting generator. Why am I exhausted? And it was simply because I wasn't integrating that gate of aloneness part of my chart. And I'm also an emotional authority. So I need to have flexibility in my schedule and flexibility to be able to navigate emotional waves. So that's why my schedule it's very unique. It's very designed to me. So that business model, in tandem with my design, empowers me to feel like my business isn't draining me. It's giving me energy. It's giving me life. It's making me feel better and better and better and more creative, instead of what it used to do, which was literally drain the life out of me. So that's an example of how it looks.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
So powerful. And I want to bring us back a little bit again to the Limitless Lounge. And a little bird told me that the Limitless Lounge helps people to create a 10K baseline.
Yes.
What is that? How does that looks like? And how can you help people maybe listening to this around the world that they want to prosper in their business? What the heck is a 10K baseline?
Great question. This is so important. And I didn't get it until I had it. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this could change the world. Like, this could literally change the lives of so many entrepreneurs. So this concept is, there is either a baseline or there's a ceiling. So if your ceiling is 10K, that means that some months, if your ceiling is 10K, some months you're going to hit 10K, some months you might hit 0. So a ceiling is ultimately your top level goal, like what you want to reach for every month. So if 10K is your goal that you think you can reach sometimes, then you're not necessarily building a solid revenue foundation in your business, which means you can't scale. You are capped. A ceiling is a cap, right? So if we keep striving and we hit it sometimes, and we're going through this cycle of grinding and then getting exhausted, and grinding and getting exhausted, and shooting for the moon and then not hitting it, and then feeling like we're failing, that is what most people in the coaching industry are teaching, is how to hit high cash months, how to hit 10K a month. But that is not sustainable as a business model. It's not sustainable to start over at 0 every month And if you start over at 0 every month, you could hit 10K, but then the next month you could hit 0, and then your expenses are not covered and you're in a place of financial scarcity. So being at 10K as your ceiling is a very frustrating, exhausting place to live, because I've been there, right? So what happened was I was like, something's got to change. I've got to figure out how to fix my business. So I started working towards building monthly recurring revenue. So one-to-one clients paying me between $500 and $2,000 a month. I started building up my revenue little by little. And I got to this point where 10K actually ended up being my baseline. Baseline meaning if like that was the lowest I could hit in my business because of all these recurring payments I had accrued. So I had 15 clients or whatever paying me between $500 and $2,000 a month. And I finally hit my 10K baseline. And then for the next 6 months, I had $10,000 a month guaranteed coming into my business. And what that did for me is it allowed me to hire coaches, team members, a VA. It allowed me to think bigger than just, how the heck do I make money today? How the heck am I going to show up and get some cash in the window? It took me out of the exhaustive cycle of constantly striving and reaching and feeling like I wasn't making any progress to actually starting to grow my revenue. So instead of staying at 10K, I was then able to get more recurring revenue payments, then get to 15K, then get to 20K, and now we're hitting 50K. Like, it started to build, but I believe that 10K is the baseline that everybody should be aiming for, because if you don't have that guaranteed income every month, then you can't dream. You can't see past the next month. You can't see past what's right in front of your face. And if you're in scarcity, you're going to stay in scarcity. So we've got to get everybody. I believe every coach in the world should aim for 10K as a secured baseline, because from that point, the next level becomes so much easier. And then the next level becomes easier. And if 10K is your bare minimum baseline, you go from hitting 100K to making 200K very realistic as a, collective revenue for your annual revenue. So the point is, it would be so easy for us to stay in that cycle of striving and trying and grinding, but eventually we're going to burn out, including those of us that are generators and mani-gens. And so building a 10K baseline, to me, is the solution for every single coach or online entrepreneur to actually start to accrue wealth.
What do you think? What do you think was the catalyst for you to continue to make the 10K baseline and above? Like, what was the biggest thing for you?
The biggest thing was client retention, because I have clients that have been working with me for now 2-3 years. So clients that retain and they stay at that level of payment and then increase payments as my prices raise. That means that I don't have to go out and be seeking other clients. And what happens is, when you're no longer trying to search for and seek out, you become more magnetic. There's like this energy that shifts from being in push and go and like trying to like being in this receiving, like very feminine, magnetic, like I don't need clients. And so clients come to me because they can feel the difference between, I need you to make my rent next month, or I can really help you. And you don't need to work with me, but I'd love it if we did work together, right? And it also gives you the flexibility when you get to this point. Like, if a client's going through a hard time, if you have 10K as a baseline, you can act from integrity and you can act from generosity, instead of feeling like, well, if I let them, be late on their payment, I'm not going to be able to pay my own rent or my own coach. That's not a very good feeling. So if you have 10K as a baseline, you can actually act from generosity and be like, you know what, you can take an extra week. If you need to take a week or 2 to make your payment, it just feels like a more integrous way to run a business. But what really empowered me to grow to the next level, so once I got to 10K, what brought me to the next level was raising my prices, a combination of raising my prices and adding another offer. So getting to 10K was just one-to-one clients, only one-to-one clients. When I hit that threshold, that's when I started thinking about what other low ticket products or mid ticket products or group programs would feel good to launch. And then that added another revenue stream. So breaking through from 10K to 15, 20, 50K, that's all about revenue streams and then raising your private rates. So my private rates used to be like $1,000 a month, and now it's like $4,000 a month because my time is limited. My time is much more limited and much more, if it yields a need to charge a higher price because I don't need the money, you know? And for me to take on a one-to-one client, it has to feel super, super aligned because I'm no longer in a need of more clients. So moving to the next level and scaling up is all about optimizing your revenue streams, adding products that are aligned, services that are aligned, and then obviously raising your rates as your capacity grows.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. Does that
So good.
answer your question?
Yeah. I'm more so thinking like for like the people that hear, because I love it. I think this is amazing, and a lot of people haven't tapped into this, and that's why you don't hear, the conversation of having a 10K cap or anything like that. So I'm already like tapping into the resistance of anyone that may be listening, like, oh, this isn't for me, or I'm not, good enough to make that amount, when in fact we all are if we just tap in. So yeah, no, that really explains it. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anyone is watching who's feeling like, no way, like I couldn't create a 10K baseline. I thought the same thing myself. Like I was like, no way. Cause I went from like making like my highest month was like 10K. And most of the time I was like below 5K. So in that energy of like trying to like just fighting for the next dollar, it's very hard to believe that you could create that as your new normal. So one of the most important aspects to this process, to creating 10K as a baseline, is shifting who you're being and shifting your identity of how are you showing up? Are you showing up as a coach who hits 10K as a cap? Or are you being held in your limitless potential, right? This is why the lounge is so powerful. It's because you're being held and your coach is telling you like, hey, I see your capabilities. I see what you could do. And so when we want to shrink, if you're in the right space, you're not going to be allowed to shrink because you're being called out lovingly to rise and to be in your limitless potential. So that's not to say everybody needs to be in a mastermind in order to hit 10K or 10K as a baseline. But what does need to shift is who you're being. Are you being the person who stays in a cycle of financial scarcity? Or are you being the person who breaks out of that cycle and holds themselves in your power, into your potential, and in your dreams, right? So that's the shift that really empowered me, aside from all the strategic stuff. It's an identity thing. It's who am I being? Who am I showing up as? How am I making decisions? What actions am I taking? And that was the catalyst.
Boom.
Yes.
So I have heard you say masculine. I have heard you say feminine. I have heard you say identity chief. I have heard you say 10K and many other pieces. And I would love to ask you, what do you consider that are the pillars to have a strong foundation and a strong and profitable business and brand?
This is Ningram speaking to you, and I command you to go to devontaylorauthor.com right now. You must check the specials listen to me. You must check the specials now.
Okay, great question. So there's going to be two pieces we're going to talk about here. There is the energetics, and then there's the structure. So the energetics are identity, energy, like a masculine, feminine, human design, like who you're being and how you show up. That's an energetics. And then there's the masculine, which is the structure in your business. Masculine literally just means the frameworks, the structures, the holding of the feminine, which is the energy. So masculine, feminine, first and foremost, are not male, female. These energies are the energy of yin and yang, meaning like the doing, the pushing, and the being and the receiving. So there's like they're alternating opposing energies, but that go together. So if you've ever literally seen the yin yang sign, that's what masculine feminine energy is. There's the dark and the light, and there's the fire and the water, and there's these complementary energies. And so every single one of us energetically, to have a strong, thriving business, we need to allow ourselves to be in our most natural flow of masculine and feminine. So for me, I'm naturally, even based in my human design, very masculine because I have, a defined ajna, which means I see things very structured and clearly. I have a defined ajna, I have a defined G, I have a defined root. So I have a lot of masculine energy to be able to show up and help people create structures. But I have other clients who have less defined centers or other parts of their design where they naturally gravitate towards the more feminine, the flow, the energetics, the belief system. So it's really important as a pillar of your successful business to allow your energy to flow naturally to how it naturally goes, right? So if you're a more energetically feminine being, trying to force yourself to be super structured and masculine is not necessarily the right thing for you. So that's number one. Your energetics have to be in alignment with your business. You have to have a vision and an identity that can hold your vision. And you have to have this capacity. So we talked about energetic capacity. And that essentially means how much you can hold in terms of energies, in terms of money, in terms of people. That energetic capacity is something that we grow over time. It's not something that you just can immediately like quantum leap your energetic capacity. It's just like going to the gym and working a muscle, right? Last year, I had like 5 clients one-to-one at the beginning of the year. That's it. 5 clients. Now I have like 20 people in the lounge and 10 one-to-one clients. So I've got 30 clients. And then in my Money May challenge, we had 140 some people. So my energetic capacity has expanded as I've expanded. My identity has shifted. So I know I'm like rambling a little bit, but the point is, in order for you to have a thriving business energetically, you must have alignment with your natural feminine masculine flow. You must have some form of energetic capacity. And this is where I see some people trying to grow. I see some people trying to grow too quickly, even though their capacity is not able to hold that much yet. So you've got to focus on growing that energetic capacity and how much you can hold. And then energetically, last but not least, you need a vision, a strong connected vision to what you're creating, who you're becoming. And that is really the energetic foundations of having a successful, thriving business. There's more components, but that really sums it up. We could talk about this for literally a whole episode, but that's one piece. And then the structural piece is, in order to have a thriving online business as a coach, a service provider, anything in that realm, you need 4 things. You need a hot message, something that gets people excited and pulls them in and magnetizes them to what you're saying. You need hot leads, because if you don't have any hot leads, then you won't have any clients. So you need to generate leads. You need a hot brand. A hot brand essentially is your brand being recognizable and people getting obsessed with what you put out and they love what you say. That's your brand. And then number 4 is you need, what is the last piece that I'm missing? Hot message, hot leads, hot brand, hot offers. You need something to sell. You need a hot offer that makes people excited to buy from you, that speaks directly to a problem or a solution that they desire, solves a problem or offers a solution or both. So those are really the 4 the 4 strategic components that I teach inside of my business coaching program, the hot sauce. Hot sauce is all about those 4 things. And if you have those 4 things strategically paired with those 3 things we talked about energetically, then you're golden. Like, you're going to have the most incredible, impactful, successful business. And yes, there's so much more to business, but that's really where my expertise is. And that's what I teach in the lounge and in hot sauce. Great question.
Love it. Yeah. That was a really good question. My next question, do you have any powerful like modalities or methods people can add to their daily routine to maybe help them get closer to creating that 10K baseline? Or
Yes. Okay. Yes, I do. I am a huge proponent and actually a certified practitioner of EFT tapping. So EFT is otherwise known as the emotional freedom technique. And what tapping does is it works on a subconscious level to help you reprogram your subconscious thoughts. Most of us know that our subconscious is so much more powerful than our conscious mind. But our conscious mind is, the part of us that says, like, I want that goal and I want to become that person and I'm going to do this, 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 and this. And then when it comes time to achieve and accomplish all these things, our subconscious goes, well, nah, I'm going to sit on the couch instead, or I'm going to watch TV, or I'm not going to do the things that I need to do because, we don't need to do those things. It's mainly because our inner, our subconscious mind and our brain stem, which is the part of the human being that evolved to protect us from harm, doesn't want us to change. Our ego does not want us to change because change is scary and change creates pain. That's really the core of the ego is the fear of the pain that comes with change. So if we want to overcome and actually work with the ego, work with the subconscious mind, we have to do it somatically. We can't do it just by thinking about it and expecting it to change, because that's just not as simple as the system of the being that we are. So tapping helps us to penetrate through the conscious mind and actually access the subconscious systems. And it works with the nervous system to create peace and calm in the nervous system as we are shifting our thoughts, and we become less and less afraid of, we start becoming less and less afraid of the things that otherwise would have stopped us previously. So one thing for me that tapping really shifted, and I tap on pretty much everything, but I had a very huge fear of visibility. Like, visibility meaning like more people seeing me, having more followers, getting more clients, being more publicly recognized, because I was afraid of judgment, afraid of being hurt, afraid of, being canceled, afraid of all these different things. And so I tapped on that for, months in a row, because I love tapping. It's like it's a practice that I do. Like, it's not hard for me anymore. But I got to this point where I truly no longer in my body feel a fear of visibility. I feel like I know there are going to be some things that challenge me as I become more and more visible, but I know that I can handle it. I trust myself to handle it. And that realization and that thought would not have existed in my current conscious mind if I hadn't first introduced it to my subconscious through tapping. So tapping is very easy. You just tap on these points these 8 or 6 or 8 points. I don't remember how many, but you just tap like this. And while you're tapping, you're either releasing or you're integrating. So you integrate new beliefs. And through this process, you literally shift your mind, you shift your brain. And you can also use this as an acute nervous system regulation tool. So if you're feeling really dysregulated or like really triggered or something like that, tapping is a great mechanism to release from. So I love EFT tapping. My favorite YouTube channel is Tap with Brad. Tap with Brad is like the best YouTuber who does all different sorts of tapping videos. And it's such a cool tool. Very easy to use, very quick. You can do it anywhere. You can do it in your car. You can do it like while you're at dinner. Like nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to recognize. You can tap on your hand. Like there's so many ways to do it and it's so flexible. Obviously, I'm obsessed with it. I think it's just the best tool. So yeah, I love it. It's fun.
So good, Bambina, so good.
Thank you.
So you're welcome. So I'd like us to play a little bit. And if you're open to that, I would love for you to guide us in a little tapping session.
Sure.
Maybe, I don't know, towards creating a 10K. Or maybe if we are in the process, or anybody watching this is in the process of transitioning from their job to their dreams, to their business, to their entrepreneurial journey, like what kind of tapping practice will you have them do?
Okay, let's do it. Okay, so we are going to start at the forehead point. That's right here. So the reason I love this tool is because it's really scientifically valid, and it's also working with meridian points, which if you know Chinese medicine or a lot of other holistic medicines, they use we use meridian points. So that's what we're tapping on is meridian points. So let's start here. Let's start at the top of the head. Okay, take a deep breath
Right
in.
hand?
Right hand. Release through the mouth. And you're going to repeat after me, either aloud or just in your own mind. Even though I don't know how I'm going to make my dreams come true.
Even though I don't know how I'm going to make my dreams come true.
I completely love, trust, and accept myself.
I completely love, trust, and accept myself. And she's having us go somewhere else.
Yeah, we have different points.
I like close my eyes. I was so into it.
No, this is good. So let me just show you the points really quick before we get into it.
Okay.
We'll do the points. Okay, so forehead. And then you can do this at your own pace, whatever feels natural for you. Forehead. And then top of the eyebrow, the arch of the eyebrow. And then the side of the eye. Right here. And then below the eye. And then below the nose. And then the chin. Then the collarbone. And then finally under the arm. So we are going to go through these tapping points and you're just going to repeat after me. You can keep your eyes closed and all I want you to do is really focus on the way that your body is feeling. And before we get started, I want to ask you to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. And let's just project into the future your biggest goal. Like what would be the coolest thing you could possibly, the most exciting thing that you would love to create in your life. And I want you to think about that thing and rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being completely impossible. There's no way I'm going to be able to create this. To 10 being, I completely believe this. This is totally possible. I got this. So just keep that number in mind. And then we're going to re-rate at the very end of this tapping session. Okay.
Okay.
So starting at the top of the head. Taking a deep breath in. Holding. And then releasing through the mouth. even though I don't know how I'm going to make my big dreams come true, I completely love, trust, and accept myself. And even though it all feels really far away, I completely love, trust, and accept myself. And even though there are parts of my big dream that feel completely terrifying, I completely love, trust, and accept myself. Sometimes I look in the mirror and I ask myself, who am I to create this dream? Who am I to think I could do it? There are so many people who have failed. And I failed. Sometimes I feel like the biggest failure. Like, when is it finally going to get better for me? When are things finally going to shift? Because I'm exhausted of the way it's been. I'm ready for more. But I just don't know how I'm going to get there. It feels impossible. I look at where I am in life, and I wonder, could I really do that? Could I really make that dream a reality? Could I really have all that money? Could I really have all that success? Could I really have the love of my life? Could I really have the family of my dreams? Part of me says, I don't know. But a voice deep down inside of me says, of course you can. Deep down, I know what is meant for me. And I am not willing to give up on that dream. I'm not willing to stop. So even though all of this feels really big and terrifying, I take a deep breath. And I trust myself. I take a deep breath. And I love myself. Right now, I'm holding myself in the highest expression. Right now, I'm holding myself in my highest timeline. Because I have the dream. And simply the fact that it exists within me is proof that it's possible. I wouldn't have this dream if it wasn't meant for me. I know I'm meant for wealth. I know I'm meant for massive success. I know I'm meant for my dream to be my reality. And I trust that I can create that. I get to co-create it with the universe. I get to co-create it with amazing human beings. I choose to see this vision and hold it in my body every day. Because as I vibrate closer and closer to that dream, the faster that frequency becomes my reality. I am meant for my dreams. And they are meant for me. And as I live in my joy and delight, as I live in my surprise, as I live in peace, and as I find deeper and deeper levels of satisfaction, what is coming for me will be mine. It's already mine. I'm claiming it now. I'm feeling it now. I'm vibrating with it now. And that's all I need to do. Because from this energetic state, I know exactly what to do. I know exactly what to say. I know exactly where to go. And there is no fear. There is only love. My job is to vibrate in the expression of love. And as I hold that in my being, my dream becomes my reality. I am my limitless self. I love myself. I trust myself. I hold myself. I believe in myself. And so it is. So this truth becomes mine. I can already feel it happening. And I'm grateful. Thank you, self. Thank you, universe. Thank you, life. And more, please. Now go ahead and drop your hands. Take a deep breath. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
So powerful.
Mm.
I was crying like a baby.
I want to go back to the question at the beginning that I asked you. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being impossible, there's no way, I could never do that, to 10 out of 10, completely possible, it's already happening. Where did you shift? What were the numbers? How far did the scale move for you?
For me personally, it was starting off at like maybe, I've had some struggles before we got on this call. So to be completely honest, I was like at a 4, maybe 3, just like with everything going on. But I feel brighter, lighter, more energized. So I would say it's definitely gone up to like an 8, 9. I would say even close to a 10, because it just feels like, okay, we're on the right path. We're doing this for a reason. Yeah. So that's how I feel.
Amazing. Yes, it's that nervous system clicking into place, and it's your literal system is starting to vibrate on that frequency of your desires. And that's what I love about tapping is it was fast, right? We did this for 10 minutes and we're already feeling that significant of a shift. Like that's what 70% shift. That's incredible.
I hope everyone listens to this and actually takes their time to do it, because
I hope so too.
Please let us know in the comments how your experience goes with it.
Yes.
I would love to hear.
Giancarlo, how was your shift?
I was feeling a lot of tension in my body and anxiety, and now feels like a big release. I'm actually seeing my aura and your aura as like completely shiny, and I feel I was crying like a baby, like I was saying, and I just feel joy right now. I feel openness and expansiveness, and it just feels so damn good.
So good. I love this. Yeah. It's amazing.
Well, I want to say first and foremost, like, I truly do appreciate you being here. I hope anyone that listens to this episode just gets to feel your heart. That's one of the things that I've felt the most since we've been connected with you, is that you just have such an open heart, and it's going to make me cry. And you just are so, you're just so, just amazing. Like when you think about someone that is an amazing human being, just for who they are and what they bring to the table, you really remind me of just that model of someone that is here to help people be the best versions of themselves. So
Thank you.
I really do appreciate you taking the time to have this interview with us and just being so open-hearted and just giving us, a little bit of tidbits of, how people can upgrade their lives, and even us, how we can upgrade our lives in this moment. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those words. I really don't even know what to say to that. I'm like going to cry. So thank you so much. That really means the world to me, truly. And it's an honor to be with you both. I truly just have felt like from the moment Giancarlo sent me a message on Facebook and was like, hey, I want to be in the Limitless Lounge. I was like, I don't know what it is about this guy, but this feels so freaking right, and so the fact that we are now doing this, and I truly believe like we are connected. We all come into each other's orbits at the specific times that we do for a very specific purpose and reason. And so all of this feels very synchronistic and very on purpose. And I see your, like, how you articulate Devon, how you show up and how you hold space for people. It's really, really powerful. And I just want you to know I see you also. And I'm really grateful to be on your podcast.
Thank you. Well, before we get like all of your information so that people can find you and work with you, Giancarlo, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to say anything before Hannah, gives her socials and all that.
I'm having a hard time even just like processing right now. I'm just so deeply grateful to you, Hannah, and I'm gonna start crying. That's why I didn't want to speak.
Let it out.
It just has been such a beautiful and powerful experience, and that crazy bold part of me that was like, I want to be in that woman's space. How do I do that?
Yeah.
And a part of me was like, just message her, go for it. And a part of me was like, well, she may say no. And the other part of me was like, and she might say yes. So let's do this.
Yes.
So I message you. You message me back. You were open. I just love your openness, and it's like you have this super powerful curiosity to you
Mm,
that allows you. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like one of your superpowers that I feel like since I have been connecting with you, and I just feel that it allows you to reach for so many worlds and to
mm.
touch so many people, so many realities, and just create universes. And it's something really powerful and really beautiful about you. And I can see and feel how that even is very helpful to channel into your programs because you have so many programs. You are like you're such a freaking creative powerhouse. I
Thank
don't
you.
even know how to describe you. Like I really mean it. I feel like you're not only my business coach, I feel like you're my soul sister. And I mean this from the depths of my heart. And I'm very grateful to be connected with you and just everything that is happening in the lounge. And I don't know what you were going to answer, Devon, but I would love for Hannah to tell people how can they join us in the lounge and just join this powerful vortex and universe.
Yes. Oh my
Yep, that
gosh,
was my
thank you.
question. Where can everyone find you? Where can they, join if they want to? Give us all your socials, your website, anything like that.
Thank you. Well, I actually don't have a website. And the marketer in me, the marketing agency owner, is like, you should have a website. But you know what? I'm so busy coaching and I'm so busy like changing lives. I don't have time to build a website. But the website is under construction. But if you want to join the Limitless Lounge, you can find me on Facebook, Hannah Becker. It's, Hannah Becker. You can search Hannah Becker Limitless Lounge. You'll find me on Facebook. You'll find me on Instagram. And my Instagram handle is @_the Hannah Becker. Or you can send me an email at hello@thehannahbecker.com. Eventually that will be the website, thehannahbecker.com. That's how you can contact me. Or, Giancarlo and Devon are connected with me. Obviously, if you message them, you have access to their podcast and you can respond to them and they can always connect you to me. And, I always love to meet people from my people's network. So feel free to reach out to Giancarlo and Devon if you're already connected with them. And, I'm all about the network. So
Once again, thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful. We'll drop all of your social media tags so anyone that wants to follow you or anyone that wants to reach out will be able to do so directly from the episode. But thank you so much. I am so grateful for you being here once again. And
thank you.
hopefully you can come back.
I love you back. It was so fun.
Come back, please.
Down. I'm so down. I feel like we have some deeper dives to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
okay.
Good.
Well, until next time, thank you again, Hannah. And see you guys all later.
Bye.
Today's episode comes to you thanks to our sponsor, Kangen Water. Electrolytes-reduced water is the power of true hydration, manifested in the most advanced Japanese technology that has been in the market for more than 50 years. To drink the best water, shower with a hot spring quality water, and start a new business with the most amazing and profitable compensation plan in the world, visit thelivingwatercouple.com to learn more or get started today.